All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our moderator. She's a media consultant, executive coach, Tawasul show host, and content producer. Please welcome Rose Hindi.
Thank you, Wassam.
Good morning, Rose.
Good morning.
You ready for today?
Oh, I can't tell you how ready I am.
I'm excited.
Ready to rumble. Are you? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I really want to thank you for being here today. I'm personally super hyped and psyched to be here today. I have two main reasons for this. The first one is that the forum really resonates with me and with what I do. And the second one is the fact that you're here physically. Now, I do respect the decision of many candidates who want to be virtually with us, so I do welcome them virtually. Now, are you caffeinated enough? Because even if you're not, you still got a clean slate, because panel number one is gonna act stronger than a double espresso. Let's welcome our panelists, shall we? Danny Zain, Account Director, Tech and Telco at LinkedIn. Sarah Al-Madani, Serial Entrepreneur. So you can start being seated in this order. Edward Medti, Managing Partner at CCM Consultancy. Richard Fitzgerald, CEO and founder of Augustus Media. Hussein Wehbi, CEO at Fetcher. Serdar Susuz, CEO at InSpark Intelligent. Najoud Majali, founder of Nextshow. All right. So welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. We do really have a very diversified panel. So the way it's going to go, OK, am I echoing or am I good? Oh, OK. So everybody has his mic. Social distancing and COVID precautions. So let's structure a bit the panel. And oh, wow, you're well seated. Everybody is sitting right down the picture. So the way it's going to go, we do have 1 hour for every panel. But you guys has got only 50 minutes, because we do have 10 minutes for our audience for their Q&A. You do have a QR code. Please scan it and stay engaged with us. OK, so I'm going to be asking questions. Feel free to engage between each others, but mind the time. Everybody will have 5-7 minutes, so let's stay mindful of the time. Danny, I'm going to be starting with you. So LinkedIn today is the most reliable business platform. Tech is, of course, an intrinsic part of its success, and it's really powerful and a robust search engine. I'd really like to know more about the tech aspect of it.
Well, first, thank you for having me today. So I just want to start off by saying that LinkedIn really is much more than a social platform, right? So we actually started off as being what many would call a job board. And as we sort of evolved, we introduced the feed, and with a lot of engagement and all of that, we sort of started our journey to being what many people would call a professional social platform today.
Yeah.
But beyond that as well, we have learning capabilities, we have sales enablement tools, and all of that sort of comes together towards the mission that we live and breathe every day, which is enabling every member, or creating economic opportunity for every member of the professional workforce. Now, that said, there are a lot of features basically that enable, people on LinkedIn not only to be searched or sought out as potential employees, but also to amplify their voice as professionals. So, as we went into the pandemic, there was definitely a lot that could be done to help people that were rocked by, and impacted by layoffs, or by having to upskill or gain new skills. And our team was hard at work basically to try and introduce features that would enable these people to sort of cope with the new norms and realities. Features like, being able to signal if you are looking for a job or if you are hiring,
Yeah.
which introduces sort of a whole new layer of intent-based search.
But thing is, tech really adapted so fast. Like you had these in no time.
Yeah, I mean, we were forced to. We had no choice. And if I wanted to quote Satya, who is the CEO of our parent company, Microsoft, we saw digital transformation and advancements that should have taken 2 or 3 years happen in the span of 2 to 3 months. Companies, including ourselves, had no choice but to embrace the change and to try and adapt and evolve as fast as we could.
That's an evidence that we really work only under pressure, right?
Well, yeah, you're forced to, right? I mean, you either adapt or you fall behind. But I think one of the strongest or the most evident changes that we had to sort of fast track as a result of all the changes that were happening was definitely our video capabilities, our live streaming capabilities. And that's not only something for companies to take advantage of, it's also something to help individuals engage with their social networks and circles as well.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about technical innovation in this panel. So I'm going to be moving to Edward. I'm not going to be moving this way, so it's going to be a bit random. So no, it's not you, Sarah, it's Edward. Edward, inside any organization, the gap between the management and the employees is something really hard to crack, and you do really work on that. I mean, during the pandemic and due to the physical distance, thanks to working from home, and it's likely to stay, even if it's partially, it has become even more challenging to narrow this gap between the management and the employees. How do you do that?
It's a great question, and you're absolutely right. The gap is there, and I don't think it disappears just by snapping our fingers. And it's not the employees' responsibility either. I think managers have a very big role to play in what they do. This was a challenge before the pandemic. Today, with working from home, remote working, it's even more so. And I think what's happened is a lot of managers have moved into micromanagement even more, checking in on people. And I think what they have to look at, it's not so much a skill set as much as it is the culture that you want to create in the organization. That culture of collaboration, trust, engagement, where people desire to do the right thing for everybody, for the organization, for the customer, the end user, for their managers, for whomever it might be. So I think managers really need to take a long, hard look at themselves and how they want to be remembered, how they want to be known within their teams, that legacy at one day that they want to leave behind. Were they those micromanagers, or were they really giving people the space? Now, by space, I don't mean kind of, being lackadaisical and sitting back and hoping that everything gets done. There is really a level of engagement. And I think today, you look at the last 18 months, social media platforms like LinkedIn really helped actually employees come together with their managers. Leaders who are picking up skills, who are checking in on their people, finding out, what can I do for you? How can I serve you further? So I think it's really about looking at, again, what is that culture? How can I drive something that we can be proud of? Being there, but just enough, and not being overbearing. A few months ago, I was talking to, unfortunately, a CEO who was reaching out for help, and I found out that he asks everybody to stay on a video streaming platform from their homes, so he's trying to recreate the work experience while everybody's in their home. And that feels just going a bit too far, right? That's not management. Now you've become that overbearing demagogue who's constantly looking at what people are doing. That gap is very easily bridged, but it's about bringing your people together and finding out what they feel is a great experience for them. How can they feel comfortable and confident in contributing the way they should without being told every minute what to do and where to go?
In fact, Zoom and Teams, in a way, they got it together. Instead of widening the gap, I mean, it was bridging in a way.
I think it wasn't even just these platforms. If you look at social media in general, even the most introverted person who may have not spoken to their colleague who sat right next to them, social media gives them a platform to be someone who can reach out to others, who can drop their guard or those barriers And in the pandemic, it's something that we all desperately needed, to find out that, look, there is a life beyond the workplace. And as much as we would have loved to have that when we were all physically together, I think one of the upsides that came out of the crisis is that it brought people together, not physically, but through social media platforms beyond Zoom and Teams that very much connected us. We felt a little bit more alive. We were all in this together. We saw the trials and tribulations, people's excitement about their personal lives, what they do. We found a way to tap into one another's personalities during this crisis, and I think that's a great thing that came out of this.
Yeah, it is. But I'm still happy that we're here physically, actually. Richard, during the pandemic, consuming the on-demand content has become very legit. I mean, it has become normal as everything else. In fact, it has been accelerated. How was that happening in the past 1.5 years? And how is Smashy TV, which is an only streaming TV that does not have linear offerings, how is it perceived?
Interesting, yeah, it's good to reflect back on the last 18 months as an industry, and just want to say thank you to Zaina and everyone involved in organizing the event. It's really great to see, and it's important that the events industry is back commercially, but also for the media industry for dialogue and to bring people together, so it's great to be here. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. If we look back at the industry, the trends from January 2020 till now, what happened in media consumption. The first challenge for platforms and for everyone was, how do we fact check COVID? And a lot of resources were put towards COVID notifications and fake news around COVID and that sort of real information. And then from a production point of view, as you will know, Rosa, on your program, that a lot of production was disrupted, and did the platforms and on-demand platforms have the runway of content. So streaming, I remember there was an industry report on one of the publications in Q4 2019, and it was said that there's 4 million on-demand subscribers in the region. And last week there was a new report saying there's 8 million on-demand subscribers in the region. So it's nearly 2 years. It's fascinating. They think that it'll get to 15 million on-demand subscribers by 2015. But so what does that tell you about the pandemic? It tells you, like Edward and Danny mentioned, everything's accelerated. So media consumption accelerated. But rather than focusing just on streaming, what else happened? If you remember in January, we were all signing up to Clubhouse. And what happens when that's a live streaming trend, and then you will see that Facebook are pushing audio rooms and pushing things like this, and Twitter are. So that's a trend that happened in the industry. And I think there's more and more shift towards linear part of streaming. I think the on-demand part is playing out, but I think there's a lot more shift. Are we there yet? Would COVID be seen as the catalyst? Not necessarily. I think there's a lot more hardware and software to come together, a lot more programming and trends to happen. But definitely, we're in the fourth industrial revolution, fourth part of it, and it's all about technology. And this region in COVID has seen that accelerate, and media is no different.
And how is Smashy perceived and received?
Yeah, so Smashy, basically, the lens on Smashy is for driven dreamers, doers. So although it's a business platform, it's on the thesis that there's a young cohort in the region who want to have economic prosperity, and we want to tell the stories. It can be startups, but it can be anyone in the community. We think that that's a necessary media, right? That's our choice. However, it would have been maybe better in hindsight to have started with a newsletter and with a different medium. There's medias and mediums. It's still a little early for linear type of live streaming. We're still channel flicking. There are only 10% of households in the region who have a smart TV. So we're still a little early. We're on demand. We flick apps for demand. We don't flick apps for streaming. So Smashy's been well received on social platforms. It's got the biggest show in the region, Arabic show in the world, on Snapchat Discover, Meme and Kessa social media, with 6 billion top Snap views in the last 18 months. So it's really, really big in Saudi Arabia. So on the Arabic side, it's doing well on social, but I think it's, we're investing in technology and we're investing in streaming because, as I said, we're still, you know, the technology evolution and is still playing out.
Yeah, we're getting there, I think, very, very fast, sooner than we think. Hussein, I mean, e-commerce is evolving right now as we speak, but so are the expectations from deliveries that should be faster than sonic speed. How do you cater to this? I mean, I want the dress that I ordered yesterday, today. How is that possible?
Well, the industry is really going into a crazy evolution. Let me give you a quick statistic. The e-commerce market is expected to reach around $68 billion in the next couple of years in the GCC region alone, going up from around $28 billion in 2018, which means it's an incredible growth. The crisis and the COVID-19 have accelerated the e-commerce and the B2C and the evolution of the delivery infrastructure maybe by 10 times.
Even more, right?
Even more. The challenge is, and I see it positive, not negative. First of all, you have around 66% of people today who are comfortable to buy online, which means more deliveries. But the question is here, will this affect the speed of delivery? I can tell you no. It can put more pressure on the delivery infrastructure because most of the companies are not ready yet to handle those spikes in deliveries. So what is the solution? Technology. That's why we, for example, in Fetcher, the thing that helped us during the crisis is we are a tech company which is providing logistics solutions, which means the technology here allowed us to do proper forecasting, proper planning, preparing the capacities to understand that if there's a spike, how to handle that. Plus, of course, the AI and the machine learning that helps in scheduling deliveries, because today, when you buy something online, you want it now. Before COVID-19, you can wait 1 day, 2 days, and so on. So the evolution is very, very fast. I think many companies today will not be able to really catch up on the evolution if they don't go into technology. So tech is extremely important. I see there will be always a balance between the brick and mortar and e-commerce. Nobody can tell you that malls are going to shut down and everything is going to be online. That will never happen.
But how far are we in the technology? From a scale of 1 to 10, where are we?
We are, I can tell you, maybe in 6 from an adoption perspective.
That's low.
Adoption. Today, many companies in the region, still they're working on a manual mode, which means they don't have the right technologies to improve the customer experience at the last mile. Mm-hmm. The most important part in a delivery is the last mile. But believe it or not, something that nobody knows. A delivery process and the customer experience never ends in the last mile. It starts in the last mile. It ends if you have a return. Because I can deliver a shipment for you on time, but you want to return it back to the merchant, it's a horrible experience. If you don't have the right technology that gives you a proper end-to-end, including a reverse logistics, you will be out of business.
As long as we don't pay the shipment back, I'm good.
It depends on the merchant, but I think many of them are providing free returns. The question is, how quick can you return it? Because the frustration of the customer is very high when you receive a wrong item or you want to change it.
Tell me about it. I'm a very heavy online shopper,
That's
so I know what you're talking
I'm the
about.
worst customer ever for any online shopping because I know about the delivery and I will never allow a delay.
Okay, before we proceed, maybe we could have the QR code in here and we really ask you, our lovely audience who's with us here, to really be engaged and start asking questions, and also our virtual audience who really want you to be engaged. It's a prerequisite, by the way. It's not an option. Okay, Sarah, I didn't forget about you, by the way.
I was like, she skipped me.
No, I will not skip anybody. So Sarah, you're defined here as a serial entrepreneur, but you got another labeling, which is awesome. You're a spiritual gangster. So how does the spiritual gangster and the content creator incorporate all those social media platforms and also business platforms like LinkedIn? How do you incorporate this, to help you with your entrepreneurship?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much, Zaina, for organizing this. As an entrepreneur, I mean, we've seen the shift from physical to digital and the changes that's happening around the world. And as Hussein mentioned, like, and everybody else, like, it's a must. Like, you cannot escape the change anymore. As an entrepreneur, every social media platform serves me. But my strongest social media platform that really served me in business is LinkedIn. Because
So not just because he's here, right?
no, I'm being completely honest. My strongest platform on social media is not Instagram. It's LinkedIn, actually. It's my strongest. And when you try all the platforms, you realize that LinkedIn is all about quality and conversion. The rest convert, of course, but the quality of the conversion is higher on LinkedIn because you're in front of the right eyeballs. Now, how to utilize LinkedIn as an entrepreneur in a way to serve your business? I can break it down for you into like 6 or 7 steps. Basically, are you proud of me? Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, that sounds like a crash. That sounds like a crash course, is it? I need that.
They did not pay me for this, though.
Okay, having doubts now. Yeah.
No, so basically, if I break it down for you, I'm sure a lot of us have struggled during COVID as entrepreneurs, and even if you do the shift to digital, no industry is immune. Like, you can also fail as well, right? But how to utilize the social media networks in the right way is important as well. So my advice, if you're using LinkedIn as a tool, as an entrepreneur, I'll break it down into 6 or 7 steps. Number 1 is basically have a visibility for your company. You are in front of the right people. Try to put as much information, as much content in the best way possible on LinkedIn, visually, videos, whatever you can do, just put your company out there. Number 2, connect with companies. It's so easily to grow.
Danny has a name for that, but no, I'm not gonna say.
What is it?
No, he didn't say anything. Yeah, go on.
No, number 2 is basically it's easy to get on top of the food chain on LinkedIn because if I cannot reach the CEO, I can find out who his assistant is. I cannot reach the assistant, the CMO. So it's like everyone's CV is there, so you can easily get to the right people in the right time. Number 3, use plugins. As much as LinkedIn supports in so many ways, but freely use plugins because they also help you with your business. The fourth point is ask your colleagues who are on LinkedIn to post as well. Like, for example, I'll have a CEO who's a friend of mine, and I'd post his work, he'd post my work, and in this way we exchange networks. And in the end, the conversion is always going to be of good quality because everybody on LinkedIn, like, you can't, it's not like Instagram where you can hide and be a keyboard warrior. On LinkedIn, if you do something wrong, I know where you live, I know who you are, I know where you work, you know? It's not easy. So that's one of the points as well. The other points is, which I really suggest, is join LinkedIn gatherings where your target audiences are. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, it's fun. A lot of people really don't understand that there's so much value on LinkedIn and so many tools, but people just don't know how to use them properly. So I joined the gathering so I can target my audience there and turn them into like amazing conversions. So my advice as an entrepreneur is, yes, of course, I'm in tech, I'm in fashion, I'm in beauty, I'm in so many things, but everything converts, but nothing converts like LinkedIn. And especially if you're an entrepreneur who's like trying to raise money or trying to start a project or looking for support or looking for advice. I've seen so much kindness on LinkedIn and so much forward thinking than I've seen on any other platform. For example, I believe in speaking about failure more than success because nobody can relate to success because not everybody has made it. But if I speak about failure, people can relate. And when I spoke about failure on all the other platforms, I was attacked, bullied, whatever, like these things happen. On LinkedIn, I had a lawyer reach out to me and tell me, you know what, I'm doing the work for free for you, you know, if you failed in that thing. And then I had another CEO reach out. So I believe knowledge is for free, and if you choose the right platform and utilize it the right way, you can reach so far with it. First one, let's go.
Just for
Are you
context
sure
here,
he's not?
we have not met
she's not
before.
sponsored,
Not
no?
paid.
Okay.
Okay.
I promised myself before coming here that I would do no selling whatsoever of our platform. But I think she has made a lot of great points. But in terms of like the headline here, every social media platform serves a purpose. LinkedIn is a different environment. So because it's a professional social network, the mindset of people when they come to it is just different. The same people go to Facebook and Instagram and other places. It's just the subject matters and what you can talk about them.
There are filters. I mean.
Exactly. It's a different environment. So, if you want to be amused, there are social platforms for that. But if you want to do business and if you want to create opportunity, then there are different platforms for that as well.
Actually,
LinkedIn.
you said something important because the same people, like I've sat with people in an office once, and the same guy who was buying a course, for example, on LinkedIn, went on Facebook, saw the same ad, he did not purchase it there. So I think the purpose of each platform and the actions that come out of people is completely different. But on LinkedIn, I know, like, let's say 60-70% of the time, they are serious about what they're doing there.
Let me put it this way. It probably has a professional authority.
Yes.
And when you have somebody approaching you on LinkedIn, that, most of the times, they're going to be approaching you for business purposes or camouflaged under business purposes.
I've seen camouflage a lot.
Okay, so are you guys posting questions? Yeah? All right, so Serdar. Okay, so the revolutionary digital transformation is a non-negotiable fait accompli. Yet, having anything affordable and creative at the same time is the name of the game. CRM platforms are not any exception. You do claim on your page that you have a 9.86, am I precise with the number?
Yeah.
Customer
it's
satisfaction.
Changed, but yeah,
is it higher?
The scale has changed, but it's 4.98 over 5.
In any case, it's a very high number when it comes to customer satisfaction. With all the competition and with all the hardship of technology and digital solutions and CRMs, which are no exception, how do you really cater to this, and how do you really make sure that your customer is almost 100% satisfied?
Yeah. By the way, you asked the question differently, but when I received the concept, the question, I said, wow, because at the same time, a lot of keywords were in the same sentence, like innovation, like customer engagement, satisfaction, what else?
You asked me about the topic. I'm not going to give you the question.
Yes, and all of them has a lot of, a lot to say about all of them, actually.
Yeah.
We are implementing CRM solutions. This is our job. This is what we do for years. But I would like to answer like you asked, what we are doing as InSpark.
You're going to tell me so that I can probably use your CRM platform, because I use a competitive one currently.
Really? Okay. I think it was, 3 years ago. We were actually, you have to put a focus for your team, for the company, and our focus was the customer. We were putting in the middle of, we were putting customer in the middle of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, okay, that's good. It's working. You always think about customer, but that's not enough. So we changed it. And we said, okay, let's put experience in the focus, in the center of everything. And not just for customer, for everyone, for our stakeholders, for our vendors, for our customers, for our employees, and everyone. And then things changed. If you also support this with your vision, and if you support this with your values, then it becomes like everything, like this event. Thank you, by the way. Thanks very much for inviting us. This event, social media. By the way, our team is using heavily LinkedIn. I should say that.
Are you sure there are no deals happening over here? Okay.
And all of them becomes like channels for us that we deliver experience. On LinkedIn, we are trying to deliver experience. Here, we are trying to deliver an experience. During our projects, we are doing the same thing. And I think that's making the change. I remember I attended a Gartner seminar in, I think 3-4 years ago again. And I was having a chat with a distinguished analyst of Gartner, and they told me that, yeah, experience is the only thing you can differentiate, actually. You cannot differentiate with anything else. If you produce something, a bottle of water, another person, another company can also do that. But the experience is difficult to copy, you know? So that's what we are trying to do. Is first of all, we also try to deliver rich, consistent experience to our customers. Obviously, we are doing our job. This is the default, you know? You have to do your job. And on top of that, above the line, you should deliver more than what you are doing, and that's what we are doing actually. This is making us successful, I believe.
I mean,
but your question is very deep, actually. It's going to take.
That's what I do. I ask powerful questions. That's why I'm recruited for, right?
I appreciate it.
Okay, Najoud, last but not least.
There goes the deep question. Go.
No, okay. All right, let me make it harder on her. What should I ask her? Less than 2 years back, I mean, the events in Dubai and in the region were really booming like never before. And then there was a major plot twist, also known as the pandemic. And everything went into a full stop and inertia, only to pick up after that in full swing virtually. Today, we have hybrid events, just like our forum. It's a mixture of face-to-face and virtual facilities. What's the next show? Her company is called Next Show, by the way.
Thank you for the question, and thank you for having us. It's such an honor to be here with such amazing speakers on this panel. The next show is extended. So it's not going to be hybrid, it's not going to be physical.
What's extended?
This is the new kind of events. Extended means that now with technology and the force that we've been through due to COVID, we had to digitize and we have to move online and we had to use virtual platform and we had to stream to social media sometimes and use them as our event platform. Human beings strive to connect. We need to connect, we need to express, and we need to engage. So these are the 3 pillars of having any successful event. So in order to do that, we need to extend our events. Yes, we do have physical events where people come into the venue, we sit together and we talk like this. We have a great audience here. But again, we need to extend events to cross borders of the physical space. Nowadays, we have the option of having an event that is physical, that can fit 100, 200 people. And at the same time, it can accommodate more people to attend, engage, connect, network, gather leads, cut deals, even from across the physical space border. Which brings me to a very important thing. Today in the events industry, there is a lot of waste, not to mention environmental impact. You know, when we have those vast buildups that all goes destroyed and goes into waste. Again, the virtual events and the extended events are solving that. We are giving more into less. The cost of building an actual exhibition booth or a stand is cut into 10% when you have that page or profile on that event platform into 10%. And you're still able to sustain 90% of your ROI from participating into an event. Because when I go to a business event, I want to be there, I want to be seen, I want to connect with others, and I want to showcase my services, my product, my business. So the next events, the next show is definitely extended.
Thank you very much. Now, just a quick question, because I really want to see a bit of more engagement between you guys. So feel free to answer whoever wants to.
I would like to add on what I said in connection to everyone here. So all the professionals on this panel can make a great partner for an event, starting with logistics. We are now investigating or R&Ding the way of what if we have an event that has samples and we want to do this event across borders, then we would need to plug in a logistics tech company that can deliver those samples to interested people without having to to be there at the event. We are living an era of low touch where I'm minimizing people touching objects or other people, basically. So anything can work contactless
Do we really
is
want
needed.
this? Do we really want to
As
minimize?
humans, we don't, but we are forced into this, and we now need to be ready. We need to be ready and agile in the word was, I don't know if anyone remembers, the word that was used during the pandemic is pivot. We all need to be ready to pivot at any given moment for any massive, whether it was a pandemic, it could be anything these days.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's a shift, and it's a paradigm shift, because we were forced and trained into this. So going back to the completely normal as we know it before, I think it's going to be a bit hard.
Okay, just a quick one, and feel free to answer whoever wants to, just quick answers, please. So we've seen really a very strong acceleration of everything technical in the past 1.5 years, less than 2 years. How do you see this picking up? It's going to be stable, faster? So what's the pace? What's the next pace of anything technical?
I really think that this was something that is just a spark that was needed. I think now there's no stopping it really. It's going to be a snowball effect, and as more and more technology adoption happens, more systems are going to start talking with each other, and that drives even more adoption and more innovation. So it's really now
So the same pace, even faster?
I think it's going to be even faster. It's going to be on steroids now. Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of integrations between different technologies. Like now we integrate with LinkedIn, for instance, for login, and then we pull the profiles, and it goes on and on. The more services, the more vendors talk to each other from the technical perspective, the more efficient things would be, I think.
Lots of traction with LinkedIn today.
Yeah, also I would like to add that I think this will take today many CEOs out of their comfort zones. There's no more time to live in the past. Everybody is transforming. Very important to define what the word digital transformation means. Today, it's a headline which many people use. If they have a mobile app or something, I think the real value here is in how you transform your operation, how you transform the experience, while leveraging on the latest technologies. And by the way, technology expires every 6 months. So there
Even
is no
faster.
more. Even. So there's nothing called 3 or 6 years depreciation anymore. Depreciation for any tech is not more than 6 months to 1 year.
I think there's an expectation set nowadays, right? Where I think Danny said that the CEO said, you know, it would have taken us 3 years, we got done in 2 or 3 months. And I think this shone a spotlight on when things get tough or challenging, we'll deliver.
But,
So
that,
in the
but that's
past,
exactly it, because you were under pressure. My question is, now the pressure has a little bit eased, you know?
I wish that's how we work, though. That sets the expectation. It sets the bar. That if we were able to do it before, we can do it again and again and again. I think it is a spark. It's not necessarily that we want to work under pressure, but it proves that things can get done faster, better. We are more agile than we ever thought. And I think that becomes really the catalyst for the expectations that go further. There's an old adage that says, today's luxuries become tomorrow's expectations. And I think it's exactly the same thing here. What was really out of this world for us today, tomorrow that's what we expect. And then the day after that, we expect even more. And I think that's going to set the stage, or certainly the pace for what's going to come after that.
Well, what comes next really depends on investment. To your question, you know, I was at the Dubai Future Foundation yesterday, and it really is where investment is going that determines what comes next at a macro level. If investment is going into blockchain or AI or et cetera, and it's the same for anyone running a company. Where are you investing? Sure, investment can be wasted, and there can be things that can happen through that isn't cash, that's investment of time and resource and focus, and things can happen organically. But if we look at social media, we look at what Mark Zuckerberg was saying about the metaverse and things like that. So there's many things, there's many buzzwords, there's many trends, but what comes next is investment. But I think we all have to, learnings from the pandemic, I think we all have to, how many of us believed that our parents would be ordering groceries on apps when we were younger and things like that? Like, these sort of things, you know, it's like in our industry, in media, you know, there were times in the history of media, there were times when people didn't think that everyone would have a TV in their house, right? There were parts of this region that we don't think is going to have the connectivity to allow some of the 5G and some of the things like the last mile and that sort of stuff. That's not true. That will happen. So, but it does come down to investment, and we see what's really healthy about the the entrepreneurial ecosystem at the moment is that that's one of the success stories of COVID in the region. The amount of inward investment. Saudi's FDI numbers are really high. There's lots of, Egypt's really emerging, and there's lots of investment at a startup level. So it's really exciting. And what's next? Hopefully everything, inshallah.
I mean, I read something very interesting the last day on IG, and it says, you're the last generation that will be storing photos on your phone. Read that again. And ever since, I'm like, oh my God, where am I gonna store my photos? I know on cloud, but apparently there's something coming up.
But our behavior is changing. Like every time someone wants anything nowadays, it's like, isn't there an app for that? Isn't there an app for that? Like we became lazy and dependent. But I think if we look at the change from digital to physical, all these things that have been happening since the year 2000, 52% of the Fortune 500 companies either went bankrupt, either were acquired or exited because of the digital disruption. But I think that with the pandemic, it just took everyone out of the comfort zone and forced them into that change. While in the past, everyone was like, we'll do it when we can and all that. But even during the pandemic, how many companies have went bankrupt because they didn't want to change the way they were? They were stuck to their traditional way of doing things. So I think it is a must, and it's happening. And I think there's no going back after this. Like right now, like I don't do anything physical. I just use an app for everything. So our behavior...
Is it laziness or is it convenience and efficiency?
Both.
I'm not saying that there isn't an element of laziness to the generations that are out there, but I think that's convenience and the sense of efficiency and more use of your time.
It is, but I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to press a button instead of going to a grocery. We forgot how to act as people. Like
the best part of it. I'm personally an ambivert, which is a combination of extrovert and introvert. And yes, I can be introvert. So introvert really goes very well with all those apps and all these things that are digital. So yeah.
I mean, does Netflix make you feel like you're in a cinema? No, it doesn't. Like there are things that I think should be left the way they are, but you can't control what's happening. Everything is changing.
I need to comment on this. Like, let me give you an example. Pre-pandemic, we used to drive to meeting, and you could do maximum, 3 meetings a day, because there's the drive time between each meeting and another. And post-pandemic, you're able to push 5 meetings a day, get right into the subject, do your work, communicate, and that's done. Today, when things are open, if I get to make any meeting on a call, which is a virtual meeting per se, I would do it on a call. Neither of us will waste the time in driving. Neither of us will. The business information would be exchanged, and it's done. So yes, I think it's efficiency. And once you actually were pushed to do this because there was a reason, which is the pandemic, you couldn't go out, and then you noticed how easy and convenient it is, it's really now hard for me to go back to actually driving and meeting people in their offices.
But Najoud, you're saying this because that's your business, and it's a beautiful business. But I mean,
I should be credible.
Physical presence is really very important. I'm so over having a shirt and a PJ and having calls. I'm sure everybody's.
It needs to be balanced, though, right? And I agree with Sarah, and obviously, look, there is a matter of, and that's why I brought up this notion of efficiency or convenience. Yes, you can fit 7 or 8 meetings in the same day that you would have done 3. But at the same time, you miss we are social beings. Whether it's digital social or that human aspect, we do need that interaction. We do need to see people. We need to feel that we're connecting beyond that. And there is a desperate need for it. And I think there's that, as much as we throw the word hybrid around, it's a reality. There's going to be a mixture where some of your days we're still stuck in front of a screen, while others you need to get out there and have a physical meeting and kind of really feel the sense of other people around you and interacting with them.
I mean, don't tell me that the same vibe would have been possible if we weren't in here. By having said that, I'm going to still say that I'm very happy to have the virtual candidates with us today. So that brings us to a wrap, and I think we're so ready for the Q&A. Bassam, where are you? Thank you very much, guys. You were so awesome.
Good morning. Awesome. All right, there you
guys,
go.
I have a question.
Yes.
I promised that panel 1 is going to act stronger than a double espresso. Did it? I think you need one more espresso.
There you go. We're getting the claps. All right, so as per the social media form that we have in the app that I told you to scan up, we got only a question. Basically, it's not a question, it's an agreement from Happy Joseph for Dr. Sato. Yeah.
Happy Joseph, thank you.
Yeah. They're saying, regarding LinkedIn is the happening place and the next big platform. LinkedIn is a platform when you grow your connections and get like-minded audience. The engagement level is high, so they're totally agreeing with what you said. So thank you, Happy. All right.
Best day ever, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the only question that I have right here, but if we got any questions from the audience, you're more than welcome. Please raise up your hand. We'll try to run for you and give you a mic. Any questions?
You got a reward if you ask questions.
Can we have the mic, please? There's a mic here next to you.
Yeah, but you need to put it on.
What is it?
Okay.
Yes, good morning. I have a question for Fetcher actually. And you spoke about the last mile and how Fetcher is actually evolving into a tech company that does logistics. When will we see an actual transformation in the logistics industry other than, shortening the time to delivery? I think today, or was it yesterday, we heard about the launch of SkyGo in Abu Dhabi, the drone logistics company. Where do you see actually digital transformation playing a role in logistics?
Thank you for the question. A very valid question, because yes, today, if you see the drone delivery concept itself, it already started in the US and it's being piloted by UPS, which I used to work for. And they created something called Flight Forward, which is a drone airline by itself to serve that. If you ask me personally, what is the future of drone deliveries and autonomous delivery vehicles, I can never tell you it's not going to happen. It's going to happen, but it will take time, because the challenges that you have today is, first of all, regulations. The security of having drones flying over urban cities is something that needs a lot of tackling and years of maybe policies. Plus, you need to think of the efficiency of flying a drone for one package. Do you really want to fly a drone, which will cost you a lot, to fly one single package from point A to point B? So there's a lot of questions about this. Definitely it's coming, but it will never replace the traditional ground transportation that you have today. I believe drone deliveries in specific are going to serve niche types of products. It can maybe serve the oil and gas in the deserts. It can serve like in Africa for the medical supplies, medicines. But I personally don't see it soon in the e-commerce business. This is from a practical point of view. But it's good to start from now preparing for that, because in 10 years from now, you're going to have a big fleet of drones in the region operating.
It sounds
Aside
like a
from
VIP,
drones, where
right?
else are you transforming?
Sorry?
As a tech company, where else are you transforming? Drones was just a small example.
The biggest transformation here is, I can call it a hidden transformation. It's in the process of arranging a delivery. When we speak about AI and machine learning and predictive technologies, for example, in our company, the added value proposition that we have for our clients is AI helps us to predict where you will be, and this is how we schedule your delivery without really bothering you with a phone call. And based on your behavior, then we will push any delivery that comes to you through historical data which we study. It starts here by just improving the basic customer experience through the most advanced delivery tech. Once this happens, you can go into the hardware part, which is drones and autonomous vehicles, because in the end, it's going to be an IoT. Everything is going to be connected. The drone is going to be connected to your basic tech that will allow you to know where the delivery should land, for example. So let's finish in our industry from the basic tech transformation. I think we can go back and be ready to the drones and the advanced hardware, if I'm allowed to say that.
Thank you. Any other questions, please? One more question we can take. Don't be shy. We're good? All right. I guess we're good.
Yeah. Thank you very much.